Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into a stack of sources to make you well-informed, fast, and maybe even a little bit surprised.
hmm
Today, we're exploring a character who really defies expectations. He's a master criminal, sure, but also this brilliant strategist, always seems one step ahead.
And somehow still a force for good, which is the interesting part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How does someone who's so clearly on the, wrong side of the law become this beloved hero? It's quite the paradox.
Well, we're about to unpack the incredible story of Arsène Lupin, the iconic gentleman thief, master of disguise.
Right.
Our deep dive today will trace his journey right from the start, from Maurice Leblanc creating him, then through these surprising kind of real-world clashes with figures like Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a famous one.
Totally. And then we'll look at his just enduring global impact. Books, films, games, TV, it's everywhere.
Exactly. So stick with us because you're going to uncover not just the facts, but really the essence of Lupin, what makes him a character you just can't help but root for, and why he keeps captivating audiences all over the world, inspiring all these different stories and different cultures. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So where does it all begin?
Yeah.
Lupin's big debut,
Yeah.
right?
It all starts back in 1905. He was created by the French writer Maurice Leblanc.
Okay.
His very first appearance was in a short story, The Arrest of Arsène Lupin.
The arrest. So they caught him right away.
Well, it's complicated, as it always is with Lupin. But yeah, that story was serialized in Je sais tout magazine.
Oh, okay.
And right from that moment, he was established, this, captivating gentleman thief, master of disguise. That was his core identity.
And he didn't just appear out of nowhere, did he? There's like a literary history there.
Oh, definitely. You can really see his lineage. He's often seen as a descendant of Pierre Alexis Poussin du Terret's Rocambole.
Rocambeau, okay.
Yeah, his adventure started way back in 1857. And like Rocambole, Lupin operates, outside the law, but usually acts as a force for good.
Right, the good bad guy trope.
Exactly. And he also shares a lot with E.W. Hornung's gentleman thief, A.J. Raffles.
Raffles, yeah, I know him. He came a bit earlier.
A little bit, 1898. And both Raffles and Lupin, well, they went on to inspire tons of later characters. Think the Lone Wolf, the Saint.
Ah, interesting connection. So LeBlanc really ran with this character.
He really did. I mean, the sheer volume is incredible. We're talking 17 novels and 39 novellas featuring Lupin.
Wow, that many.
Yeah, collected into, I think, 24 or 25 books, depending on how you count them.
That's a lot. It really cemented his place, didn't it?
Absolutely. It gave LeBlanc so much space to experiment with him across different kinds of stories, different themes. Not many authors got to do that with one character back then.
And that experimentation, it led to some pretty unexpected places, right?
Oh, definitely. LeBlanc wasn't afraid to push the envelope, like take L'Inautant Circo.
Okay, the Island of 30 Coffins. Sounds ominous.
It is. And a key part of the plot is this radioactive godstone.
Wait, radioactive, seriously?
Yeah. It supposedly has the power to cure people or mutate them. It becomes this object everyone's fighting over. It's definitely not your standard crime story.
A radioactive godstone in a Lupin novel. Okay, that genuinely surprises me. That's a big leap from just stealing jewels, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And it wasn't a one-off either in La Demoiselle aux Hivers.
The girl with the green eyes.
Right. The characters are looking for the secret of the Fountain of Youth.
The Fountain of Youth.
Yeah, some kind of mythical mineral water hidden under a lake.
Okay, so we've got radioactivity, the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, perhaps the most out there element is Lupin's archenemy, who's also, weirdly, his lover, Josephine Balsamo.
From La Comtesse de Cagliostro, right?
Exactly. And she's supposed to be the granddaughter of the actual historical Cagliostro.
The alchemist. The occultist guy.
That's the one. So LeBlanc is mixing historical figures, occultism, adventure. It shows how adventurous he was. He kept Lupin fresh by throwing him into these almost fantastical situations. It wasn't just detective fiction.
Right. It's way more versatile than I might have guessed.
Definitely.
So, okay, Lupin seems pretty unstoppable. But what happens when he runs up against, an equally legendary figure, like Sherlock Holmes?
Ah, yes. The big crossover. Their first meeting was in LeBlanc's short story, Sherlock Holmes Arrives Too Late. That was 1906.
Arrives too late. Sounds about right for Lupin being one step ahead.
Pretty much. It shows an older Holmes meeting this young, very clever Lupin for the first time.
But then things got complicated. Legally.
That's where it gets really interesting, yeah. Arthur Conan Doyle, Holmes's creator, he objected pretty quickly, legally objected.
Ah, so LeBlanc couldn't just use the name Sherlock Holmes.
Nope. He had to change it. So in the next stories, like Arsène Lupin contre Herlock Sholmes.
Like Sholmes, seriously.
Seriously, Herlock Sholmes. And later in Legio Cruz, too. And get this. For the U.S. edition of one story, The Blonde Lady, he was called Holmlock Shears.
Holmlock Shears, that's even better. And Watson.
Watson became Wilson. It's a fascinating little footnote in, like, early copyright battles.
Wow. But copyrights expire, right? So they've met again since then.
They have, yeah. Once the coast was clear, legally speaking, there's the 2008 PC game Sherlock Holmes versus Arsène Lupin.
Okay, so still rivals there.
Definitely. In the game, Lupin basically challenges Holmes. He threatens to steal these major British artifacts.
Why? Just to be cheeky?
Partly, yeah. Like a desire to humiliate Britain, but the game also suggests there's this weird undercurrent of admiration Lupin has for Holmes.
Huh. Interesting dynamic.
And you see nods to that old name change, too. The great Ace Attorney Chronicles game.
Oh, yeah, the Capcom ones.
Released between 2015 and 2021. They use Herlock Sholmes and Wilson. It's a clear homage to LeBlanc's workaround.
That's a nice touch. But have they ever, like, teamed up?
Funny you should ask. That seems to be the more recent trend. There's a 2024 pastiche novel, The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the Gentleman Burglar.
And in that one?
They actually team up, working together to solve riddles, find treasure. The relationship has really evolved, you know, from pure rivals to collaborators.
Wow. From Herlock Sholmes to partners in crime. Well, partners in solving crime, maybe.
Sort of. It just shows how versatile these characters are and how their relationship keeps getting reinterpreted.
That shift is really a great example of Lupin's staying power, isn't it?
Yeah.
He definitely didn't just stay in LeBlanc's books.
Not at all. His influence just spread everywhere. Other writers started writing new Lupin adventures almost immediately.
Like where?
Well, in Turkey, for example, the writer Piyami Safa created a character called Singes Rekai, clearly inspired by Lupin. And in one book, Lupin himself actually shows up, visits Istanbul. It wasn't just copying, it was adapting him for a Turkish audience.
So taking the core idea and making it local.
Exactly. Shows how that wit and unconventional justice could translate. And in Japan, you had Edogawa Rampo write Ugon Kamen.
The Golden Mask.
Right, where Lupin appears as this golden mask character going up against Rampo's famous detective, Kogoro Akechi.
Okay, Japan, Turkey, anywhere else?
Well, for a younger crowd, there's the Sherlock, Lupin, Amoy series. It's children's books.
Sherlock, Lupin, and Me.
Who's the me?
Irene Adler. She's recounting adventures she supposedly had with a young Holmes and a young Lupin.
Huh. Clever premise. Any modern stuff.
Yeah, like Michel Boussy's novel Code Lupin. The idea there is that LeBlanc's original books actually contain a hidden secret code.
Turning the books themselves into the mystery. That's cool.
It really is.
And it's clear Lupin wasn't just confined to print. He hit the screen pretty hard too, right?
Oh, incredibly prolific on screen. Films started super early, like silent movies back in 1908.
1908, wow.
Yeah, and they've just kept coming. French ones, American ones, other international productions. There are even films slated for 2025. His cinematic appeal just doesn't seem to fade.
In TV.
A huge phenomenon on TV, too. Lots of people remember the French series from the 70s with Georges Descrières.
All right, that was pretty iconic in France.
Definitely. And then, of course, the massive recent hit, the Netflix Lupin series from 2021.
Oh, yeah, with Omar Sy. That was huge globally. Exactly. He plays a Assign Diop, who isn't Lupin himself, but a modern thief inspired by the Lupin stories. He uses Lupin's methods for revenge.
And that show brought Lupin to a whole new generation, didn't it?
Absolutely. Millions of new fans. It cleverly blended the classic Lupin feel with a really contemporary story. And don't forget the stage plays either. Successful runs going way back to 1908, even adapting the clashes with Herlock Sholmes.
So print, film, TV, stage.
Yeah.
But his influence didn't stop there, right? He moved into the digital age.
He sure did. Video games, for one. Take Persona 5.
Okay, the JRPG.
Yeah, huge game. The main character's initial persona, his like inner power, it's named Arsène.
No kidding, Arsène.
Yep, and the character lives in a cafe called LeBlanc. The inspiration is super clear.
Wow, any other big gaming connections?
Well, his rival in the game is a detective named Goro Akechi.
Akechi, like the detective in the Japanese Lupin story.
Exactly. Seems like a deliberate nod. But maybe the biggest impact, the one that created a whole new universe, is Lupin III.
Ah, the anime and manga, that's massive, right?
Absolutely enormous. It follows the adventures of Arsène Lupin's supposed grandson, Lupin III. He's also a master thief.
Is it similar in tone to the original?
It's got its own distinct style, often more comedic, definitely more action-packed, but it started as a manga and just exploded into countless anime series, movies, specials, video games. It's a cultural institution, especially in Japan, but known worldwide.
A whole franchise based on Lupin's grandson. That's incredible reach.
It really is. And his influence pops up in other, maybe more niche places, too. Like, there was a Japanese Super Sentai series in 2018.
Like Power Rangers.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Kaito Sentai Lupin Range vs. Kaizatsu Sentai Petranger. One team, the Lupin Rangers, are basically recruited by Arsene's butler to recover his lost collection of powerful items.
So even impacting kids' action shows. Amazing.
And you see little homages elsewhere. Like in Donald Duck Comics, there's a character called Arsène Lupin.
Arsène Lupin. It's a spoonerism.
Exactly. And in the sci-fi novel series, The Quantum Thief, the main character, Jean Leflambeur, uses the alias Paul Cernine.
Paul Cernine. Music. Anagram for Arsène Lupin.
You got it. It just shows how deep and creative his influence has been across so many different kinds of media and cultures.
So we've really traced this journey, haven't we?
Yeah.
From, Maurice Leblanc's pen back in 1905, all the way to this global phenomenon. He evolved from just a literary creation into this timeless archetype. It crosses languages, crosses media.
Yeah. He's more than just a thief, isn't he? He's become an idea, a symbol of like wit, maybe rebellion, and this very particular kind of justice.
He really has captivated millions.
So what does this all mean for us then, when you step back and think about it?
Yeah.
How does a character who, let's face it, constantly breaks the law become such an adored hero? Why does he inspire so many different stories and so many cultures?
That's the core question, isn't it? What does our fascination, this enduring fascination with the gentleman thief, what does it say about us?
Maybe it reveals something about our own desires, you
Yeah.
know, for cleverness to win out, for authority to be challenged sometimes.
And maybe for seeing justice delivered, even if it happens, outside the usual lines.
Perhaps. Perhaps it speaks to this kind of universal longing for a world where just sometimes the rules get bent for the greater good.
And where intelligence and wit, they always find a way to triumph in the end. Something for you all to think about.